Greater Sandton and beyond. Get ready for the Sandton Times Hour
with your host,
Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, welcome to the Sandton Times Hour. It's edition 224. It's week 49 of 2025. I'm Alexander Leipner, and a very special welcome to you. If you're listening for the very first time, it's good to have you tune in. And if you're a regular listener, well, you know what to do and how to do it. And if you're listening on air or online, if it's in Sandton, Johannesburg, Pretoria, Gauteng, South Africa, or anywhere else on the globe, if it's on air or online, I'm happy to report that all is well in Sandton land. And Vincenzo back behind the mixing desk, counting down the weeks, I'm sure, till we get to take a bit of a break and do it all over again in 2026. Next week, Monday, we'll know if this show walks away with the title of Best Talk Show in the community category at the Telkom Radio Awards or not. But I do ask you to keep your fingers and toes and everything else crossed. And I'll be sure to keep you updated on our social media channels at Sandton Times on the night. And whatever the outcome, it's been an absolute honor to be nominated for this award. And I'm sure, we'll hope for the best. Let's put it that way. A quick look in the diary for this week. Not too hectic. It's a bit of an odd one with this cold weather. I think nobody wants to go anywhere or do anything, but it's also sort of winding up for the year. We had a bit of a strange and dry event with Savannah this week, which I'm still trying to understand what that was all about. I'm not going to take up too much of your time trying to even make sense of it, but we had an event. Then Ribs and Burgers launched some of their new burgers, and we got a chance to try those out. Now, let me tell you, if you enjoy a Wagyu burger, well, as they say in Afrikaans, I say stotus for a Wagyu burger. They've got these other one, Holstein. It's another meat that they have. They make these fabulous burgers. We got a chance to go and try them out, and always a good menu there at Ribs and Burgers. So if you're looking for a couple of new things on their menu, that was certainly worth it. I think maybe the weather also helped with that. Then off we went to a dinner at Gigi's in Waterfall Corner, and if you haven't been there, let me tell you, there's another food institution. Chef Moses Malloy absolutely smashed it with the food, paired with Woodford Reserve whiskey. Fabulous evening, but his food, always going back for that. Let me tell you, that is just top-notch stuff. And then also, we survived Black Friday. James, did you buy anything? No. I also didn't buy much. Actually, I didn't buy anything, I think. A whole bunch of things that you always think about getting, and you think, do I really need it? Is it really a deal? I don't know. Did you buy something for Black Friday? But good to hear from you. Let me know what you bought and how good the deal was. Was it a really good discount, or was it just sort of like a play discount? And then this weekend, got the Christmas tree out, the decorations out this weekend. We're ready for the festive season. I think things are looking very, very festive in the living room indeed. So what's on the menu this week? In a bit, I'll be chatting about a Sandton Steakhouse that marks its silver jubilee this year, and we'll be winding back the clocks a bit for this one. Take a listen. Then he's one of South Africa's most recognized cartoonists, and he's celebrating 30 years of capturing South African history in a satirical way, and I'll get you all the details from him. As always, I then catch up with our regular entertainment commentator to take a look at the latest stuff for you to watch on all these different streaming channels and movies and cinemas and TV and YouTube and whatever else. There's so much to watch. So we always try and distill it down to one or two things that you can watch, including our favorite Christmas movie for the week. We've been counting them down. We've had a couple of good ones. This week, another Christmas movie. And finally, I chat to a business owner in the aesthetics field about their new beauty space in Bryanston. You won't want to miss that. Another jam-packed hour, and I'd like to hear from you, of course. So if you'd like to get in touch, you can send through your questions, comments, or feedback on email, editor@sandtontimes.co.za, on social media @Sandton Times, on the WhatsApp line 084 Sandton 084-726-3866. That's the exclusive Sandton Times Hour WhatsApp line. And then also the website, sandtontimes.co.za. And if you're not part of the podcast community, make sure you subscribe right now. You can listen and catch up on some of the shows and some of the interviews you missed over the festive season. If you're taking a long road trip or you're traveling, Always great to have a couple of things to listen to. You can catch it on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, AfroPods, Podcast Party. You pick a platform, you subscribe, and you get it into your mobile device as and when you'd like it. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
Cast your minds back 25 years ago. It's the dawn of a new millennium. It's about 2000. Y2K hasn't crashed the global markets. Things were steady, and Johannesburg's financial heartbeat had shifted to Sandton, where the Johannesburg Stock Exchange had just taken up residency in Maud Street. Deal makers were hungry, and not just for opportunity, but they also needed a place where they can maybe dive into a stake for some serious business. And so on the 28th of October 2000, the Bull Run opened its doors, positioned at the base at the Protea Hotel by Marriott Johannesburg Balalaika Sandton, which in its own right is a mouthful. This new grill house quickly became a favorite for locals and international travelers alike, and a home for great meat dishes, service, and the kind of hospitality that makes any visitor feel like they've already made a return on their investment. Inspired by the financial term describing a rising market, the Bull Run embraced the spirit of momentum and optimism that defined South Africa back in the early 2000s. And it's carried that energy forward ever since. And after an extensive refurbishment in 2018, led by award-winning designer Tristan du Plessis, the restaurant emerged with a striking New York Stock Exchange aesthetic. It has custom interiors, a private cellar, and of course some of the best steaks in Sandton. And the now iconic 3-meter bronze bull statue, which you'll see the sculpture outside of the Bull Run by Michael Canadis, stands proudly across from the JSE, capturing the dynamism of Africa's very own Wall Street. And this year, the Bull Run at the Protea Hotel by Marriott Johannesburg Balalaika Sandton marks its 25th anniversary. And here to chat to me about this dining institution and some festive activities happening at the hotel is manager at the Bull Run, Rotondwa Rambani. And Tondi, good to have you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I think it's just really an exciting time getting into the holidays as well.
Fantastic, man. Well, listen, let's kind of rewind the clock a bit here, back to the 2000s. I know I was very young. I think you hadn't been at the Bull Run at that stage yet. But
yeah,
what was the general idea of having this steakhouse across from the JSE?
The general idea was you have deal makers across the road. You know, with every deal, you need something that could be a point of getting together. And I believe that our steaks were at that point of getting deal makers together so they could sit down in a relaxed setting, a beautiful setting, and be able to talk through their deals. And at the end of the day, after eating their steaks and finalizing everything, shake hands and say, hey, I like where we're going, you know. So yeah, it's that kind of background that the Bull Run has, and I think it even transcends just deal making, right? It presents and presented at that time as well, and still does, just this idea of things really shooting up and going well, as the term bull describes, especially when we look at the markets. When you're having a bull market, it's when companies are scoring big, investments are turning out great and well, and so everybody's winning at that point. And so it gives you the feeling of progression and success. And I think that's something that we embody as well. You step into our space, you step into the restaurant, you also feel there's a certain air of just, okay, I'm someone, I'm working towards something. I think there's a sense of progression that you feel as you walk in. I think also just looking at the walls, looking at the deco, all these things contribute to that feeling.
Well, look, I mean, I remember the early days of the Bull Run and the menus that were quite unique. I know there was a message that used to be in the menu for a very, very long time. It was by Russell Loubser at the time. He was the chief executive officer of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. He had a note in the menu, and then each line item, each menu item had the different currency conversions. So you could get it in rand, yes. You could have it in pound, dollars, euros, whatever the denominations were. You also indicated the volumes, so you could kind of easily see which item had sold the most. Was it the chips? Was it the fillet? And that was quite unique tweak also to the menu as well, and it was really a really kind of novel idea. And I'm glad to see that you've carried that through. Maybe not the CEO's message, but pretty much the other indicators as well. As you've also expanded the menu this year, because you've added on a whole bunch of new things as time progresses, but also as part of your 25th anniversary.
Yeah, I like that you touched on that, because that's such an important and integral part of our menu and our offerings, right? When a guest sits down, they open the menu, and then we point them to the list of food choices that they can get. And on the right side of the menu, what you see are those currency exchanges, and you also see the volume. And just to explain a bit, you have the rand, which is the current price of that item. You've got the dollar, which at least indicates, if you're from America or from any other country that uses the dollar, you understand it. You can see, okay, if I reference my currency to South African rand, how much am I really paying? It really just gives that a view of interpreting the markets. Volume, like you spoke about, it really just helps as an indicator to say which item has been the most popular since inception in our menu. And so it also just, for guests maybe who are coming for the first time, or who have been with us throughout all these years, when you look at that, you're like, oh wow, so this dish has sold that well, and maybe it might entice you to try it out. Or you might also say, I want to try something that's not been tried so many times. But all these things really just give a good impression. Even till today, if you come in today, you're going to see that our menu still has those market interpretations as well.
So tell me, what has been the top selling item over the last 25 years? Which one shows the highest amount of volume?
Our butternut, our filet, I mean, if we're a steakhouse, right?
Yeah.
I mean, nothing limits that there. That's been, our top selling meat. And, you've got things like the chicken livers as well that people, really love and enjoy. I don't know if you've tried our chicken livers, but you got to try them as well. Nice and spicy. So many food items that we have on there. And also, we have broken them down into, for example, we have our meat, we have our commodities, which are more like our starters. And then we have our poultry, which is the chicken section, right? We have our fisheries, which is more the seafood section. And we have our organics, which is more, if you're vegetarian. So we have all these different groups of options, so that if you're sitting around with a group of people, maybe deal makers, you're cutting out a deal, no one is left out. Everyone has something that they can pick up from the menu. So yeah, that's something that I think is really quite special as well.
So tell me, what have you added to the menu now that's new as part of the 25th anniversary?
So onto the menu, we have our butternut ravioli that we have added. We have our smoked brisket as well. There's a word that I'm looking for, Chateaubriand, and it's beautiful, cut of meat. We pour some whiskey on it, some brandy on it, and then as we present it to the guest, we light it up with a fire. It just flames, and it just provides a really beautiful experience. Yeah, those are some of the things that we've added onto the menus. Also, for our fisheries, we have the Argentinian prawns, which are 18 of them. If you want to have like a whole seafood fest, 18 prawns, they're bigger than our standard prawns, and it's just a whole feast that we have going there. We've got our strawberry, salad, which is quite unique, right? I don't even know. At first, when I heard the concept, I'm like, strawberry salad, like what, how can we make that work? But it really just works.
Tell me, you've also got, as part of your festivities this year, and as we lead up to Christmas, you're also doing a initiative where you are raising some much-needed funds, some much-needed resources for different charities. It's called the Angel Tree Initiative. Tell us a little bit more about this.
The Balalaika Angel Tree is a really special initiative that has to do with showing kindness, bridging the gap, especially for kids who don't have, parents who have been left to be alone, and now they're being taken care of by a shelter. And there's a shelter that we've partnered with in Joburg CBD. What makes this really powerful is the fact that as much as a hotel, the Balalaika, we are having this initiative so we can contribute and make a difference in the kids' life. We are also inviting the community, inviting our guests to say, can you partner with us to make a difference? And it's that journey of actually saying, as Alex, you are able to partner with a child and be able to provide for them in something that they need, something that they want to make their lives a little bit more special. The idea is that every person, can be an angel to these children. And we have about, 46 of these kids that we're assisting this year. And we started last year with this initiative. It was a success. It went really, really well. And so this year is our second time around doing this. And so you can change a child's holiday in just one of three ways. So the first one is on the tree, when you enter the Balalaika Hotel, right in Sandton, there's a tree that we have, and you'll see that it has different tags on it. Those tags are the names of the kids that we are getting to help. And so you pick a tree, you pick a tag from the tree, and what you do is, on every tag, there is a gift or something that the kid needs or wants. And so when you pick that out, you're going to go and buy that gift so that, it can be given to the kid. And second way is you're able to donate essentials, where you can come drop off toothbrushes, soaps, socks, sanitary products, in our collection bin, so that we can be able to put together a package that we're able to give to the kids. The third thing is, you can give securely through donating money. In that way, we are able to do the shopping for you. And here's the beautiful part about this. Everything is transparent. We're able to show you the receipts and show you what exactly your money was spent on. So we are open. We're not, just taking money and not being accountable for it. So this is the project that we have, or the initiative that we have, to really make a difference. I feel like, a lot of us, we're privileged enough to have families that we get to dine with. We have friends we can do that with. Some kids don't even have the privilege of having that, let alone just a gift to make them feel special too. And that's what we are able to do in contributing to the Angel Tree.
Well, it's come full circle, and it's certainly a bullish Christmas, hopefully, for many kids. And if you are interested, get involved, visit the Protea Hotel Balalaika for that Angel Tree initiative. But also congratulations to the Bull Run there for their 25th anniversary. And manager at the Bull Run, Rotondwa Rambani, filling us in. And it's been great having you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you so much for having me.
Time for a quick break on the Sandton Times Hour, and more of the show right after this.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
Well, South Africa has no shortage of drama, and thankfully no shortage of sharp-eyed observers turning that chaos into something we all can make sense of, or at least have a laugh at. South Africa's most fearless, most celebrated, and often most controversial cartoonist Zapiro launches his 30th annual collection, perfectly titled What Else Could Go Wrong?, just in time for the festive season and Christmas gifting. And it's been a year packed with political absurdity, national upheaval, and global lunacy. And of course, Shapiro once again distills the madness into a series of bold, brilliant, and biting cartoons. From the never-ending saga of our government of national unity to Trump's tariff tantrums, SAPS seemingly targeting each other more than crime, and his latest collection captures a year that often felt stranger than satirical. What Else Could Go Wrong is set to be another Christmas bestseller, a hilarious, piercing reflection on the state of our country and our world through the pen of a true South African icon. I'm happy to report that Zapiro has put down his pen to join us and talk about satire, politics, madness, and laughter, and what on earth could possibly go wrong next. Zapiro, good to have you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Great to be with you, Alex. I have literally just put down my pen. I was working till the last second, as always. I'm busy doing the crazy hyper madness of the Madlanga Commission and the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee and all that. That's one of the weirdest things about the annual, is that the annual is not a calendar year. As I'm doing these interviews, always at this time of year, I mean, you've mentioned all the madness. The last one that you talked about, the police, targeting themselves and not being able us not being able to tell the difference between the police and the gangsters. I mean, that has just really hyped up. Luckily, it does appear at the end of the annual. There's a few key cartoons about it, but boy, oh boy, have we seen even more. People kind of might start wondering why I'm not talking about everything about Kat Matlala and Brown Makhotsi and all that. But that's sort of some of the detail of that has happened just after the annual. It'll be next year's annual.
I sometimes don't know how you do this. I mean, as a everyday person watching what's unfolding on wherever you're watching it, TV, YouTube, all the streaming platforms, you listen to some of the stuff unfolding and you're thinking, could this actually be written? Could this be made up? Like, it is just so unbelievable. And then for someone like you who has to now translate this into satire, I mean, sometimes I think like you just want to throw your pen out the window and go, I'm done here. This is just, it's too much.
I mean, your question is a good one because it points towards something. A lot of people ask that question in a slightly different way. People always tell me that the events write the satire themselves. The government writes your material for you. That's Peter Dirkhuis's kind of thing. And I always play with that. I don't hold that against him really, because you can sometimes report things verbatim, but essentially as a satirist, you've got to be tweaking it. You've got to be giving another insight. You've got to be twisting something. It is hard. It's not like when things are absolutely, utterly crazy. It's not as if you can just write that down. You've got to do something more with it. And and what is it that's beyond what people are seeing, or what is it that gives a new insight or a big surprise? Because all of the satire, all of humor, and all of satire is about surprise. That is something that I'm always looking for, the twist, the connections that make you either say, I didn't see it like that before, or, yeah, I was going there, but I couldn't quite get the drift, and that sort of clarified it for me.
Do you think that satire is essential in times like these? Because it is just sometimes just so unbelievable that you almost need a little bit of a giggle or a laugh to try and make sense of it.
Go back like 300 years and say that like at any moment in the 300 years and anywhere in the world where there's any sort of free press, that would be the case. And in fact, even where there isn't, you find that you look at those old, the jokes from the Soviet Union, they are hilarious. The jokes that people used to tell, which didn't always say Stalin or didn't always say, point to a particular person, but were about the general setup. Biting, brilliant. And you find that all over places where there's been repression, in South America or in Africa, Asia, Eastern Europe. You find that, even when there isn't a free press, people are coming up with their own stuff. And as cartoonists here, where we do have a very free press, in South Africa we really do, we have to actually compete against the meme writers and ordinary like jokesters on all over the social media who are incredibly fast. So it's getting faster, and we have to do something slightly different. But satire is always an important pressure valve, an important way of kind of keeping people in check.
It's a major milestone release, 30 years. I mean, it's a remarkable career and a remarkable collection of work that you've put together. Could What Else Could Go Wrong as a title have been an even more fitting name for your latest piece of work?
This is another interesting question for me, because I can't understand why I didn't see that title in my own collection of cartoons for the year. I'm always looking for something that kind of encapsulates the year. I had 3 different cartoons that I picked out from this annual, and all could have been, they were things to do with Trump, things to do with the police and all of that stuff, things to do with the craziness of the year and Trump's denialism of climate, all that. All of them are in the book, and yet, and it spats within the government of national unity. And I just didn't see this one. And I actually did 3 mock-ups. And it's so weird that it took my fantastic caption writer, Mike Wills, who I've been working with for the past, about 15 years. Mike said, "What about that one?" He said, "I think that's the cover." And I said, the moment he pointed it out, I said, geez, I don't know how I didn't see that. I mean, I did the cartoon, and I had that title, What Else Could Go Wrong, is one of those cartoons in the book. And suddenly, the moment I put this together, it became the cover, yeah.
I guess it's one of those things that you can't see the ink for the cartoons or the cartoons for the ink. Sometimes when you're working so closely with the stuff that you have to turn out on a daily basis. One thing I want to ask you, because you've touched on it now, how do you balance international commentary versus South African commentary? Because there's so much happening on both fronts. To try and even it out must be also quite a difficult challenge.
Well, I'm going to confess that I used to have a much better balance because I used to do 6 or 7 cartoons a week.
Wow.
I didn't do 7 for very long. I did 6 for a long time, and then I did 5. And I was always able to have at least one international cartoon per week, and which meant that I was, if I was working for sort of 48 or 49 weeks, there'd be kind of 49 at least. At the moment, our relationship with Trump and Trump's relationship with the world is so intense that I would like there to be more of the international stuff than I've got. I have hammered Trump. I have looked at that relationship. I've looked at Gaza. I've looked at certain other international things. But I would like to be doing more international cartoons. It's just now I do 3 cartoons a week, and we have so much politics here. The majority of them are about us.
Well, if this has been part of your annual purchase, or you are a first-time reader to Zapiro's cartoons, well, what else could go wrong? The 30th annual is available at all good bookstores and also online. And Jonathan Shapiro, it's been great connecting with you again and catching up on this. Congratulations.
Thanks, Alex.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
As we ease into the second half of the Sandton Times Hour, my name is Alexander Lynnmari, and if there's anything that sounded interesting, intriguing, exciting, you didn't get all the details, well, we will endeavor to put all the details up on our show notes on the website, sandtontimes.co.za, so hop on there for a detailed breakdown of everything discussed on the show this week. Also, be sure to check out the social media accounts at Sandton Times, or save the WhatsApp number, 084 Sandton. That's 084 726 3866. And feel free to send through your voice notes, text messages, and media on that. We head into all things entertainment, as we always do, with Tat Wolfen. And Tat joins me on the line again. And good to have you with me again, Tat, even though it's been a bit of a cold week.
Yeah, I think we headed for another monsoon season like last summer.
Indeed. But talking about monsoons, you've got some interesting entertainment lined up for this week.
Yeah, we have a monsoon of culture on its way. And first up is the Japanese Film Festival online, which is really a treat. It came online earlier this year, went off for a short while, and now it's back on. And it's free Japanese movies. And it's specifically targeted at African audiences. Obviously, they're subtitled. And you get a whole spread of stuff, including sort of cultural things, documentary stuff. But there's stories, there's teen romance, there's movies about food. And the Japanese are always very good at that kind of thing. So it's a whole cultural feast. And instead of me giving you the whole boring URL, just go onto your internet search and put in JFF Theatre. And there it is. You'll find it. It'll be the first thing that pops up.
Okay.
All free, all interesting. And I'm always interested in discovering other cultures and other ways of thinking and doing stuff.
Absolutely. And Japanese culture has really grown in South Africa. I mean, we've seen sushi take off in a big way. I know that the sake, the Japanese rice wine, is also taken off in South Africa. And it's amazing how a lot of this culture has started becoming part of our culture. So why not add movies to that as well?
Yeah, and there's a huge anime following in South Africa. And if you go to things such as Comic-Con, you'll see so many people wearing these anime-colored wigs and even contact lenses. And so, yeah, it's big. It's
For sure.
huge.
Then you also took some time out to watch a more recent Christmas release, a very Jonas Christmas movie. That's the Jonas Brothers.
I did indeed. Now, I've never been a fan of the Jonas Brothers. I've never known their music or anything. But I thought, let's give this a tonk. And the title, A Very Jonas Christmas Movie, puts one in mind of movies such as there was a very Brady movie, and there've been lots of very something or other movies, and it seemed to be tongue in cheek. And of course, it's Christmas themed. And I was pleasantly surprised. I would call it a poor man's plane, trains, and automobiles.
Okay.
Because it's what they do is they take the three Jonas Brothers and they sort of play up their conflicts as well. So I don't know whether these were actual conflicts that the brothers have had, but the guys are sporting enough to play them up a bit. So, each brother has his issue or his vanity or whatever it is. So they have these brothers on tour. They've just played a concert in London, and they're eager, well, certainly two of the brothers are eager to get back to the States, to get back to their families and stuff.
For the holidays.
For the holidays, But it hasn't been great. There's been sort of the usual sort of, in-house fighting and whatever, and they're just done now. They want to just go home to their separate families, whatever. And one of them meets Santa Claus in a pub. He doesn't know that it's Santa, though.
Right, okay.
And Santa decides that he's going to work some magic to bring the three brothers together. And, it's all silly and it's all great fun. And there's a whole bunch of cameo performances and performances by people such as Randall Park and Will Ferrell, and even Kenny G pops in briefly.
Oh, stop it.
So, yeah, but it's, it's all good, wholesome family fun. The censors have decided to give it a 12+ rating for fear and coarse language. Well, I've racked my brains and I can't remember any coarse language in the movie.
Okay.
And the fear is just silly stuff. Even when they're in a plane that's about to crash, it's not anything that's going to give anyone sleepless nights.
Right.
So I would recommend it for just good, frivolous, silly Christmas viewing that renews family values. So there can be nothing wrong with that.
And then, of course, the classic Christmas movie of the week. And we've been racking our brains and putting lists together, and we've picked one out of the hat. And this must be an all-time classic. I mean, such a big movie that it has cult-like status in the United States. I know when I was there 2 years ago, you can walk into any clothing store around Christmas and you can get Home Alone jerseys, T-shirts, I mean, you name it, around Christmas. Of course, Home Alone 1 and 2. I'm going to group these movies into two because I think they're both equally as iconic. Obviously, the first one being the real McCoy, the second one being a very good sequel, and then I think after that it started dying down a bit in terms of what they were trying to do. But yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
And Macaulay Culkin didn't even appear after the second Home Alone, I think. I was even questioning the sequel because Home Alone 1 is just glows. It's funny. It's got a little bit of thriller tension with these bad guys trying to get into the house and this poor little kid sort of, using his ingenuity to keep the crooks at bay.
It's a real South African movie.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You can't go wrong with it. And it's just colorful and it's just full of Christmas decorations and sparkling lights. And Macaulay Culkin is just brilliant in the movie, isn't he? His career and his private life sort of went off the rails for a while after the Home Alone movies, bless his cotton socks, but I think he has pulled himself together again. These two movies just stand there on their own. You can go to your local video store. The one you can go to the Majestic and Greenside or Video Spot in Craighall Park. And I've been saying this for the longest time. Don't throw away your Blu-ray or your DVD player. Keep them because the higher shops have a much broader range of features. The streaming channels tend to pad themselves out with these sort of what they call their original content, and most of that stuff is pretty putrid as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, the streaming channels, can be okay, but they sort of come and go in what they offer. And I'm sure you've found times when you sit there in front of a streaming channel and you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and eventually you think, well, you know what, we'll just go out for dinner, or we'll play Monopoly or whatever.
Yeah. Well, whatever you do, if you do go out, don't leave your kid at home alone. Like Kevin's parents. Well, Home Alone 1 and 2, Home Alone 1 being the original, and then Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, featuring even a cameo appearance by Donald Trump, believe it or not, and also a great soundtrack with that as well. But Tat, time's up. We're going to have to wrap it all up and pack it all up for next week, and we'll chat again.
I look forward to it. Cheers, Alex.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
So if you're a regular listener to radio or you just enjoy your beauty and aesthetics, well, you'll be very familiar with the Goddess Factor, who recently marked their big move from their premises in Midrand, where they'd been for quite some time, to Bryanston, just here in the heart of Sandton, and I had a chance to partake in the grand opening of their new space called The Wellness of Being. It's on 340 Main Road in Bryanston, and here to chat to me about this move and all things aesthetics and beauty is the owner herself, Lynnmari Kastner. And Lynnmari, welcome to the Sandton Times Hour.
Hello, Alex. Thank you for the opportunity.
Lynnmari, it's great to have you on the show, and we had a chance to meet for the first time at your reopening of your new premises now in Bryanston. And I mean, you've been a recognized name now in aesthetics for quite some time. I mean, you've been doing this, I think, well over 10 years, if not more. How did this brand begin, and how long have you been doing aesthetics? What drew you into this space?
I did establish the business in 2015. So there is a bit of a story. My interest in aesthetics was first triggered in 2005 when a doctor friend told me of the aesthetic conferences he'd been attending in Europe. So I'd always loved the world of cosmetics, having worked in marketing. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I accompanied him on 3 trips to Paris, because I was so intrigued by all the devices available for various skin and body treatments, and it really opened a whole new world to me. And of course, now going back 20 years, the devices were not as sophisticated as they are today. It was, however, only in 2015 that I eventually opened the Goddess Factor, because I had another company at the time. And I think due to the fact that we invested in only the best European technology and quality cosmeceuticals from the start, we have become known for our high-quality, non-invasive treatments and, of course, therefore achieving excellent results. The name evolved from the Goddess Factor, medical aesthetics, and the Goddess Factor being because every woman has it. Mm-hmm. And today our slogan is, just be your authentic self.
Okay. Well, you've recently relocated to these new premises in Bryanston. It's a whole well-being center. I mean, it's much bigger than the space you were in before. What prompted the move, and why was this the right moment to make this change?
It's been a long-time dream to incorporate wellness into our aesthetics clinic. As you know, I'd been on another radio station, and I slowly but surely started incorporating more wellness talks. I'd have specialists talk about all sorts of wellness protocols and not just aesthetics. And moving last year was the right moment for a change, because there's a global trend to combining these two aspects of health. In other words, being able to treat both your appearance as well as your overall health. You know, it's the whole mind, body, soul approach.
So you've now made this move. You've brought some of your existing clients that you serviced in Midrand, but you've also got new clients coming in terms of the Bryanston area. What can both new and old clients expect from this new upgraded space?
Well, we've already got, quite a few new clients, and very happy to have all our old loyal clients come to see the new space and experience it. It is really not only bigger, it's a lot more luxurious. It's located in a beautiful garden setting, and that bodes well for supreme relaxing pampering sessions. And besides our various medical grade devices for skin rebirth, body sculpting and glamour, we have added an exquisite Himalayan salt lounge, as well as an infrared sauna to enhance the wellness aspect. So if people don't know about Himalayan salt, it actually works energetically and on frequency. It has negative ions that cleanses the respiratory system, and it is also for relaxation and sleep. And it is an anti-inflammatory. So we've got a beautiful wall, as you know, consisting of about 300 bricks. And then we have the individual salt lamps, and it's a whole relaxing, gorgeous atmosphere.
Owner of the Goddess Factor, Lynnmari, joining me on the line. And Lynnmari Kastner, it's been great having you on the Sandton Times Hour.
It's been great talking to you, Alex. Thank you so much.
Before we wrap it all up, Tat just slipped me a quick note to say that Home Alone and Home Alone Lost in New York are available on Disney Plus on streaming. So there's some classic festive viewing for you with Macaulay Culkin. And that's a wrap for another Sandton Times Hour for another week. Feel free to send through your questions, comments, or feedback. You can get an email, editor@sandtontimes.co.za. You can connect on social media @Sandton Times. WhatsApp 084 Sandton, that's 084-726-3866. And send through your voice notes, text messages, and more. And of course, visit the website sandtontimes.co.za. And as always, make sure you're part of the podcast community. So subscribe and join the growing digital community on your preferred podcast platform. And thank you to all the guests who made time to be on the show this week, as well as the team pulling it together behind the scenes. Always hugely appreciated. A special thank you to you for listening, and God willing, we'll do it all again next week.
That's it for this week. Thanks for listening to the Sandton Times Hour. And if you enjoyed it, be sure to share it.